Hello, my name is Miriam Halahmy, and I'm going to read Chapter 4 from my novel Always Here for You. Chapter 4, Shout Out. Wednesday lunchtime, Holly walked over to Ellen's table as she'd done all week. Madison seemed to have swelled the bezies to fill an entire table now, and there was no room for hangers-on. Ellen had a double portion of chips in front of her, and she didn't look up as Holly slid into the seat opposite with a bright smile, trying to look as if she always sat there. Holly was tired. Her eyes drooped as she unwrapped her egg sandwich. Dad had gone away on business, and Mum had messaged to say she might be late home again. Holly didn't like to go to bed until Mum was home. As she reached for her juice carton, Tim Baker arrived and sat down next to Ellen, and to Holly's amazement, Ellen offered Tim a chip. "Thanks," he said, scooping up a couple. He took out his phone and swiped. "This is Mabel," he said, showing Ellen the screen. "Ah," mumbled Ellen, her mouth full. Tim shot her a grin and said, "She's nearly 6. I think she wants to be a dog, you know." "Follows you around," said Ellen. "Everywhere I go," said Tim, "plus she loves the pups." He swiped again. "Oh, that's so sweet," said Ellen with a little laugh. "Want to see?" Tim turned the phone to Holly. A wave of gratitude washed through her. When was the last time anyone had included her in anything? The snap showed a goat licking a furry mound of golden Labrador puppies. Sick, she thought, but she forced a smile. "Yeah, nice." "You got any pets?" Tim asked Holly. "No, my dad's allergic, but they look, sweet." These two were seriously crazy about animals, so she had to make an effort. There was nowhere else to sit at lunch. Tim gave a sympathetic smile. Then Holly's phone pinged. It was a message from Mum. "Still at Gran's, water dripping through kitchen ceiling. Worried you haven't had proper dinner all week, so asked Linda Levy if you could go there. Walk home with Noah. Sorry, darling. Make it up to you at the weekend. Get that new jacket. XXXXX, Mum." Holly stared at the screen in complete horror. How much worse could her life get? She wasn't really sure if Tim and Ellen were actually her friends now. They'd only sat together for lunch twice. And now she had to go home with Noah. "Bad news?" asked Tim in his kind voice. Holly looked up. Ellen was giving her a hard stare. Holly shrugged and said, "Nah, just the olds." Tim rolled his eyes and stood up to leave, reaching for the earphone wire. "Laters," he said. "Laters," said Ellen with her tiny smile. Holly watched him slope off, woolly hat pulled low on his forehead. It looked like Tim was joining them at lunch, but that was only because of Ellen. Who cares, she told herself, but inside she felt like the last chip on the plate, abandoned, too greasy to be desired. The rest of lunch break, Holly sat in the library, then it was double maths, and as she came out of class at the end of the day, Noah entered the corridor. Their eyes met, and Holly looked away, but Noah came over and said in a quiet voice, "See you on the corner." She gave a brief nod, and he disappeared into the crowd. At least he didn't expect them to walk out of the school gates together, in full view of the entire school. It took Holly about 10 minutes to retrieve homework from her locker and walk off to the end of the road. Noah was waiting under a tree. "Walk or bus," said Noah. "Walk." If they caught the bus, there was bound to be other kids from school, they knew. As they set off, Noah pulled up the hood of his jacket and shoved his hands in his pockets. His legs were so thin his grey school trousers flapped about in the wind. They walked all the way to Clifton and past the end of Holly's street in silence. Holly couldn't help wondering if maybe something good could come out of this. Noah hung with Rick, didn't he? Just as they reached Noah's street, she said in a casual voice, "Didn't know you went round with Rick Gold." Noah stopped in his tracks so suddenly Holly nearly tripped over him. "Watch out," she cried out. "I don't," said Noah, his eyes scanning her face. "Don't what?" "Go round with him." He was glancing over his shoulder as if they were being followed. "I saw you," said Holly. "You went into a shop with Rick." "No, look, you got it all wrong," blustered Noah. Holly frowned and shook her head. "I don't get it. I saw you." Noah pulled a bit of paper towel out of his pocket and blew his nose. His cheeks had gone red, but the rest of his face was very pale. "He's not going to cry, is he?" thought Holly. "Don't say anything at home," said Noah, pushing the paper towel into his pocket. My parents, they wouldn't understand, and the twins, they're just dumb. Promise me. Please, Holly." Noah sounded so frightened, Holly couldn't help feeling sorry for him. Okay. A look of relief crossed Noah's face. Thanks, he said in a small voice. It's all right, said Holly. She followed Noah up the street and hovered on the doorstep as he turned the key in the lock. I'm home, he called out as they stepped into a square, light hall. There was a smell of baking, and Holly felt wrapped up in warmth. They must have had the heating on all day, she thought. Hello, love. Holly with you, came the voice of a woman from the back of the house. Yeah. Noah turned to Holly and said, hang your coat up here and dump your bag. He looked up as two older boys came clattering downstairs. Hey, bruv, nice chick. I'm Adam, the tallest of the two, said a sly grin on his face. This is Sam. Both boys were at least 15, with brown, curly hair darker than Noah's. Adam was taller and chunkier than Sam. Holly, meet the twins, said Noah in a grudging voice. So how long you two been an item? Asked Adam. Yeah, Sam said as Holly frowned. She started to say, you have to be joke, when she caught sight of Noah's face, even more miserable than when he pleaded with her in the street about Rick. She stopped just in time. Noah's mum, Linda, appeared in the hallway with a tea-cloth over her shoulder. Right, everyone, she called out in a welcoming voice. Sit down, dinner's ready. We eat early in this house, Holly. Hope that's okay. Boys can't wait, you know. She gave Holly a wink, and Holly grinned back. Linda was taller than the twins, with short wavy hair, and they all had the same olive skin. She kept up a steady banter over homemade lasagna and salad with crusty garlic bread. It was the best meal Holly had eaten all week. How's your gran doing? Linda asked, as she flicked her tea-cloth at Adam, who was trying to swipe Noah's garlic bread. Her knee's quite bad, and Mum's worried about her all the time. Well, we all are, said Holly, blushing. Then she said in a bright voice, this lasagna's delicious. Linda gave her a warm smile, and then the phone rang in the kitchen. She pushed her chair back and went off to answer it. Noah shot her his nervous look, as if scared at being left alone with the twins. You two going out tonight? Said Adam with a snort. Yeah, said Sam, his lip curled up in a mocking grin. Just ignore them, said Noah. Linda came back, and the conversation turned to Cousin Ben's bar mitzvah the Saturday after. Noah's got to make a speech, said Adam, and he and Sam exchanged grins. That's enough, said Linda with a frown. Ever been to a bar mitzvah, Holly? No, it's for boys, isn't it, said Holly, struggling to remember something from school. When they're 13, or is it 14? 13, and the girls do a bat mitzvah, equality and all that, you know. Sam and Adam exchanged gagging sounds, and Linda said with a sigh, it's so nice having another girl in the house. She rolled her eyes at Holly. I'm always outnumbered. Holly threw her a sympathetic smile. So what do you do at a bar mitzvah? Read in Hebrew in front of the congregation. You're supposed to sing, actually, said Linda. They have to study hard for it. Should have heard Noah last year. His voice kept squeaking, said Sam, through a mouthful of lasagna, and both twins dissolved in mocking laughter. Linda looked from one to the other, shaking her head. Why doesn't she tell them off, thought Holly. Noah's ears had gone very red, and he looked like he wanted to bury his head in his plate. Adam play-punched Sam on the arm, who choked and then spat out a mouthful of mush onto the tablecloth. Pack it in, you two, said Linda, but Adam banged Sam on the back so hard the table shook. Linda turned back to Holly and said, once they've done their bar mitzvah, then they become an adult in the eyes of Jewish law. Only Noah missed that bit out, eh, bruv? Put in Adam. Sam let out a mean snort. Noah looked close to tears, and Linda gave an exasperated sigh. So this is life in a big family, thought Holly. At least when I'm alone, there's no one to tease me. The twins went back to eating, and Linda said to Holly in a bright voice, it's quite an honour for Noah to be asked to make a speech, isn't it, darling? Noah didn't look up, and Linda went off to get dessert. Adam waited until she was gone, and then he said, so how old are you, whole babes? What? Said Holly, starting to go red again. She's in my year, you muppet, said Noah. The twins both snorted at exactly the same time, and then bumped fists. I was just thinking, Adam went on as the twins stared Holly down. You know those 11-year-old kids who get put up years at school because they're child geniuses? His voice was even more mocking than before. Holly wanted to reach across and slap his face hard. We thought maybe you're one of them. You think I'm 11, Holly snapped, and now her eyes pricked with tears. Will no one ever see me as growing up, she thought. She was saved by the front door slamming, and the appearance in the doorway of an older boy, 18, Holly thought, wearing blue shirt and jeans. He had broad shoulders, short hair, and pale skin like Noah. The boy took in the room at a glance, and then narrowed his eyes at the twins. They didn't even smirk back, Holly noted. "Hey, Gideon," called out Noah in a relieved voice, and he and Gideon bumped fists. "All right," said Gideon, nodding to Holly. "This is Noah's girl," started Adam. "Shut it, Twinbo," snapped Gideon, and Adam coloured a deep red. Yes, thought Holly. Linda brought in a plate for Gideon, and she also seemed relieved he'd arrived early. Noah even spoke up about his speech, which he was clearly dreading. Gideon gave him an encouraging smile. The twins said very little and excused themselves early. Holly had a second helping of apple pie and ice cream and listened to Gideon and Linda chat about their day, while Noah nodded at everything his older brother said. "This is more like it," she thought. Then Linda said, "Noah, take Holly upstairs and listen to your music if you like." "No way," thought Holly, and a look of horror washed across Noah's face too. "Oh, no, sorry, thank you, Mrs. Levy," she said, pushing her chair back. "I have to go home and find a book I need for my homework." "Oh, that's a shame," said Linda, although it was clear to Holly that no one else was bothered. There was a bit of a discussion, but Holly was insistent, and in the end Gideon drove her back. It was past 8 and dark outside. "Want me to come in?" he said. "Check all's good in the house." She could tell by his tone he was only being polite. "No, I'm fine. Thanks for the lift. Bye." She heard the car drive away as she went up to the front door, opened it, and stepped inside. No one was home, and the house seemed even darker than usual. Holly changed out of her uniform, checking every room, including the understairs cupboard this time. She rattled the locks on the patio door and the front door twice each. Then she laid out her homework on the kitchen counter and stared at her laptop. The clock read 8:33. Her phone pinged. It was a snap from Amy in the middle of a group of boys and girls standing knee-deep in snow. Amy's Canadian crowd, Holly thought, a sour taste in her mouth. She didn't message back. 20 minutes later, her phone pinged again. It was a shout-out from Becca Wilson, one of the girls at school. "Becca, hey everyone, meet Jay. Nice, funny guy." Holly checked Jay's profile. A couple of the girls at school had added Jay, and his avatar was nice. He was already friends with Amy, so he must be okay, she told herself. She thought back to the chat room and the horrid snap Jimmy Cool Guy had sent. A shudder went through her. Avatars were so much better, more private. Holly had spent ages creating her avatar, and Jay's had a cute grin on his. Why not, she thought, and added him. A minute later, her phone pinged. It was Jay. "Jay. Hey, Holly. Wanna hang?" I hope that you enjoyed the 4 chapters that I've read so far. And chapter 5, when Holly does meet Jay online, is going to be done in a very special and different way. Tune in next time. Thank you very much. Bye.